Hey guys, Lady Zet here, and today is day 14 of this eclipse window, and we are almost all the way done, and more crazy stuff is still happening because today Neptune and Venus are exact. Very exciting, especially because Venus is also retrograde. So this can be a big day for spiritual insight on our relationships, finances, and self-image. Your ego. Venus governs vanity, and so depending on what your personal circumstances are right now, you may see some things show up in your life to give you more insights on your personal sense of self-image. Neptune is the planet of illusion and delusion. The stuff that we intuit today may be very accurate or maybe absolutely wackadoo, and we have to connect with God, our higher power, to get the accurate take on what we think we are intuiting about our money, self, and relationships. Okay, the things that we think are true may not necessarily be true about all the stuff that comes to us today. So right here is what is going on, this 29-29. Can you see that with Venus and Neptune? 29 degrees of any sign is called the analytic degree. It's the final degree, the place where we clean up the very tail end of whatever we've been learning in this space. So, oh man, Neptune is about to enter Aries, like not really any minute now, but in just a few days. And this is going to be a massive big deal, followed shortly by Saturn's entrance into Aries in a few months from now. And when those both go into Aries, we're going to see some serious firecrackers. It's going to be, I think, probably unlike what most people think, but I have to make a whole video just about that. But in this exact analytic degree, Pisces is kind of like the analytic sign of the whole zodiac because Pisces ends the zodiac and then it starts again with Aries right there. So when you have two planets exact each other right here at 29 degrees of Pisces, and look at that, like 53 minutes, 49 minutes. This is just the chart I ran for noon. But um oh man, we are not just cleaning up the stuff that we've learned from Pisces, from these two planets being here in Pisces. We're cleaning up a whole zodiac's worth of junk right now. This might be obvious, or it might be very subtle. It might be conscious, or it might be very unconscious. So, I am recording this a little bit in advance, but oh my gosh, yesterday was a big day in this eclipse portal, and I can't remember exactly what the transit was, but I remember in the morning thinking like, ho ho, things are going great. Everything looks good. And then in the night, I had kind of like a rebound pneumonia situation just this past night. And I thought, oh, okay, this is my body, like actually physically processing some of the stuff that is going on, in the heavens that's being reflected in my own body. So whether things are obvious or whether they are subtle, our bodies and our minds are still going to be processing on some level. You may or may not notice it, but it is probably still going to be happening. We are letting go of what needs to be let go of for the next stage of our journey as these planets prepare to enter Aries. So the outer planets govern fate. So the planets are going to be like Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto. And I would define fate as the big world-changing events that are completely out of one person's personal control. The stuff that happens to us that are outside of our personal control. So, for example, like you can so maybe you can't control if you lose your job or keep your job, like if your boss like spontaneously or for whatever reason they decide to fire you, but you can make choices about how you're going to handle that, and that is the realm of your personal choice, right? And so fate can involve things like a massive hurricane, a big weather event, a big political event that kind of like washes over you and impacts you, but like you were not in charge of it, you did not create it, you couldn't stop it necessarily. Okay, so Neptune is one of these outer planets, and Venus exact Neptune can trigger or signify some big and fateful events in weeks to come. Okay, so the stuff that happens today, if you think about the domino effect, I kind of view it as like, okay, we've been building up to this moment, as Venus and Neptune have gotten closer and closer together. The energy builds and builds, and the stuff that happens leading up to that moment can trigger this domino effect that down the road creates some bigger events. So Venus governs both the good and the bad sides of receiving money, self-image, and relationships. Neptune governs the good and the bad sides of letting things go, spiritual connection, and outcast energy and rejection energy. So on the good side, um, this can help us let go of things that are holding us back from our best relationships, finances, and self-image. But for less good, this could rip us from things that we were heavily invested in: money, self-image, and relationships. So how this is going to turn out for each of us individually depends on us, okay? If we can go in with wisdom and trust to what we're actually being called to let go of, we can see how saying goodbye to certain things can actually increase our security, our faith, our peace, our positivity in relationships, our humility, our honesty and self-reflection, our finances. It might not be obvious right away how a loss leads to a gain, but that is where the wisdom and the trust comes in. If we go into big shakeups with fear and a scarcity mindset, when we're confronted with the possibility of loss, we may be very disturbed and upset, but that disturbance that we feel in our bodies and our energy fields, it just shakes things up even more. The more we can neutralize feelings of disturbance and turbulence in our own souls, the smoother things work out for us. All things work together for the good of those who love God. If we know that we truly love God, we have nothing to worry about. God takes care of his people. So it can be safe to face whatever comes up with faith. Ask God for clarity on how a loss can turn into a blessing, or ask for the faith to trust that that is how it will be. And I'll add to that, also be willing to take massive action, because I think sometimes that is really necessary. I'm thinking of, people who are in like dire financial straits and are like, oh, I just trust that God's going to make it work out. And sometimes God just magically makes it work out and a job just like plops into your lap. But sometimes you have to be the one applying for the job. Sometimes you have to be the one that's going to post on social media that you have something for sale. Sometimes you have to be the one to like actually take the action and make it happen. Um, you know, oh, I'm here in my mind, I'm thinking like good luck favors the bold. Um, but I can't remember the famous line from Benjamin Franklin where he talks about how like God's favor um mostly comes to those who take action. Yes, we need to have faith. We get to ask God for clarity on how the hard stuff is going to turn into blessings for us, but we also have to work. We also have to like do something about it. Um, just not from a space of fear and scarcity, but from a space of like wisdom and collaboration with God. So, with this eclipse portal happening in Virgo and Pisces and Aries, and with Neptune entering Aries practically any minute now, we are due to see a loss of delusion, with big revelations of truth showing up for many, many people, both personally and globally. So we have to pay attention to what big news is going to break that shatters old delusions. And this is going to happen, around nowish, but also in the months to come, especially as Neptune enters Aries and then as Saturn enters Aries, which I think is taking place in late May/June. I need to double check that. But basically, by the end of the summer, we should be living in a very different world where a lot of things that people thought were real, in the past couple of years, they're going to be rudely awakened and realize like, oh no, I did not think that this is how it really was. And all of us are going to be exposed to these new concepts of truth. However, this does not mean that every new thing that we're exposed to is going to be true. I hope this makes sense, but like, you could see how like if we take say like 2020, the events of 2020, I think we're going to see a lot of people wake up or feel like they woke up and be like, oh my gosh, I was so deluded, I believed everything that they said and now I finally am seeing the truth. Then and they're going to say like, oh, I was misled by government, I was misled by doctors. You can see the same people like waking up to the idea of truth being that like, oh, I thought that the people that said that all this 2020 stuff was conspiracy and everything, like I thought they were just crazy and now I think they're evil. Does it make any sense? Like people can wake up in a lot of different ways, and I think that they will. And I think that a lot of people are just we're going to be exposed to new things that we all think are true. It's not necessarily objectively true, um, but it will feel very true to us in how we are waking up. I hope this makes sense. People are going to be okay. Oh, look at me. I already wrote this down. There are lots of things that can be true at the same time. There are things that can be quote unquote true, even if they conflict with capital T truth. And I do believe it can be safe for different people to believe that different things are true until the veil is lifted. I mean, like until Jesus comes back, okay? Everyone is going to have different understandings of truth, and that is not necessarily problematic for everyone's individual life journeys. Um, what if it's really important for someone's life journey to believe that something is true when the thing that they believe is actually not objectively true? You know, what if it's really important for that person to believe in its truth, um, because of, you know, whatever divine reason that God knows and we don't know. Okay. And that's the thing. I think it's really important to understand this concept, especially as religious people. Like I would consider myself a very religious person, but I also understand that, like, I feel like God has told me specific things about how the world works and the nature of reality and the nature of myself and things, and other people have received really different revelation, and or think that they have, or like have I received that revelation, or do I just think that I have, right? And so um but people feel like God or the universe or their own soul or maybe evil spirits or something, like we're all being told these different sets of information. And I personally think that God is very aware of what we all are believing at any given time. And that if somebody is really sure that whatever they think is true, like they're really convinced about that. God is obviously aware of that. And I do feel like a lot of times where people are on that journey is really important for them at that time. And this is one reason why it's so hard to change people's opinions about things. Obviously, like if they feel like they know what is true, it's very difficult for an external force to shake that out of them. The only person that can convince you that you are wrong is yourself. It's you. You have to be the one that says, okay, I'm ready to be wrong. Um, and I don't know. Everybody's just on their own journey, you know? And so I don't know. Anyway, I think we're all going to see how a lot of people start shifting their opinions. A lot of people who have hidden their opinions are going to come out more forcefully with them. You know, Pisces is the sign of hidden things, and Aries has nothing to hide. And we have had some big players, big outer planet transits of Pisces and all this kind of thing for years. I mean, like basically decades at this point. And a lot of people have kept how they really feel a little bit hidden. And I think that as these transits start happening, we're going to see that a lot of people who have hidden are going to come out into the open. They are either going to change their opinions or just become way more vocal about them, and possibly a lot more combative about them, because that is the nature of Aries. Aries is naturally combative. So anyway, the point is, it can be safe to rationally evaluate truths for ourselves and see that other people do not share those truths, and trust that they will come to the conclusions that they need to come to for their own divine journey. I don't know if you've noticed this in your life, but people that are really belligerent about sharing what they think is true can be really a turnoff. You know, when people of any persuasion get up in other people's face and try to like tell them like you are wrong, and they try to be like, I don't know, if they're mean about it, if they are really up in other people's face about it, it is counterproductive. And this is true religiously. Like I'm in this big group on Facebook. It's like so random. Anyways, I'm in this like stupid group on Facebook. I'm in it for entertainment purposes. It's very entertaining, but in this group occasionally people complain about like missionaries getting up in their face, or like people in their neighborhood that are religious, and ostracizing them or getting up in their face, or like instigating these conversations where they just try and tell the person like that their beliefs are wrong. Like, this is not effective. It is not effective. If we want to make real change, I think that the best way to do that is to share our own beliefs, and just put them out there into the world. And we don't have to go out into other people's space and try and be belligerent to them, you know? Like, there's an appropriate way to share what we believe, and there's an inappropriate way to share what we believe. I'm thinking, I don't know. There Have you ever had somebody in your life who, like, repeatedly comes to you and just is mean to you and tells you that you're wrong all the time? Like, it does that inspire you to change? Like, no. But if that same person were to treat you kindly and with respect and, share their own views, you know, like, and allow other people to find them, I don't know. I feel like this is just a way more effective way to share our own perspectives of truth, without causing rancor and irritation, and frankly, without looking bad. I think when people are like really belligerent and rude, about other people's beliefs, it kind of just poisons what people think, about the person doing that. So anyway, the big point is everybody sees what is true differently. They have different views on what is true, and I think it can be important that people are on these different tracks. I think of different things like my own perspectives on medical interventions, certain medical interventions where I had a lot of faith in them at one point, and I think that that was important for my life journey. I think it was important that I did not see things differently about those until the time that I did. I do feel like there's a divine timing to when people change their opinions on important things. So if you have family members that you love or people that you care about that are seeing things very differently from you, um, I honor that that is really difficult, and that the default setting of humans is we want to save people from their delusion or whatever. And like, of course, who's the arbiter of what is delusion? Like, we are. Like, I'm the queen of knowing if you're deluded or not. Like, that's like all of the humans seem to take responsibility for knowing when everyone else is deluded. Um, but what if it could be safe to not get in their face about it? What if it could be safe to pray about how to share our own opinions in a way that is non-threatening? Um, anyway, okay. What about the urge to spread truth? When people believe something is true, we feel an urge to share it. I believe this is instinctual and even biological. The urge to share what I think is true is why I started this YouTube channel. It's why I have done a lot of things that I do. I don't think it's wrong to try and share our perceptions of truth. I think where it gets messy is when we try to force it on people, when we try to coerce people with it, and when we stop evaluating our own belief systems for additional truth. We have to keep the line open with God and our own intuition. It can be safe to let things go, and that is going to be a really critical thing to remember as we head into today and the months to come, as we're reeling from the aftermath of all of this big stuff happening during this eclipse cycle. Let's remember that whatever shifts we experience are ultimately for our good. So be sure to like, subscribe, check out allydozetclasses.com, and I will see you tomorrow for more as we finish up this eclipse cycle.